An estimated 60% of former NBA players go broke within 5 years of retirement. Crazy to think that 6 out of 10 NBA players will be cleaned out within only 5 years of leaving the league. Thankfully, these numbers are changing for the better, as players coming into the league are becoming more fiscally responsible and more educated regarding their wealth management. We don't see as many players with leechy entourages as we used to before. Here's the list of 10 NBA players who managed to lose their massive fortunes, ordered by the amount of money lost. Considering his lavish lifestyle throughout the years, it's a bit surprising that Dennis isn't ranked higher on this list. Rodman was arguably the biggest celebrity the NBA had during the 90s. And okay, Michael Jordan was a global superstar at the time, but Rodman was in a class of his own. Hanging out with A-list singers and movie stars of the time, Rodman racked up the reputation that went beyond the NBA arenas. According to Spotrac, Dennis earned a total of $27 million over his 12-year career. However, his net worth today is estimated to be around $500,000. The Worm hit rock bottom in 2014 when he didn't have enough to pay for child support, claiming he was sick and broke. Rodman was also the victim of a financial scam pulled off by Peggy Ann Fulford, a woman posing to be a financial advisor. Fulford claimed that his financial troubles were caused by his bad spending habits, and used that reasoning to take full control of his accounts. She's now serving a 10-year sentence in prison after being sentenced in 2018 for interstate transportation of stolen property. However, her statement of Rodman's poor spending habits had some merit to it. Rodman allegedly spent significant dollars on alcohol and strip clubs. He also had a lot of legal troubles, from drunk driving to domestic disturbance calls. Dennis also paid a fair share of NBA fines, the biggest one being $200,000 he had to pay after kicking a ref. He was also suspended for 11 games, meaning that in total, the incident cost them around $1 million. Given his current financial situation, it wasn't worth it, not by a long shot. Jason Caffey was a solid contributor for the Bulls during their title run in 1997. He went on to have a solid NBA career, earning roughly $34 million over 8 years in the league. When is $34 million not enough though? How about when you're a father of 10? All his financial troubles boiled down to child support payments. It got so bad that he filed for bankruptcy in 2007, listing $1.9 million in debts compared to $1.5 million in assets. According to ESPN, just months after his bankruptcy case got shut down, an Atlanta judge ordered Caffey to be arrested after he failed to pay more than $200,000 in child support and legal fees to one of the mothers of his children. This was all a result of Caffey's distorted perception of what love meant. He thought love was measured by the number of children. Such a chain of events led Caffey battling with depression and anxiety, as he fought with them for a long time. It seems that Caffey has recovered, and he's using his platform to help young men avoid making his mistakes, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness. The Boston Celtics selected Eric Williams with the 14th pick in the 1995 NBA draft. Coming out of Providence, Williams was a promising young prospect at the forward position. He went on to have a solid NBA career, averaging 8.6 points over 12 years he had spent in the league. But very few will remember him for what he did basketball-wise. Williams earned a total of $39 million during his NBA tenure. It sure sounds like more than enough. Not for Eric though, as his net worth is estimated at a negative $100,000 today. Williams claims that he is now broke and homeless despite earning millions during his NBA career. These statements were made in a letter he wrote to a Colorado court explaining why he could not attend the child support hearing in Colorado earlier this month. Among the reasons, Williams said that the court-ordered citation for me to appear was not delivered to my home address as I have no home. The father of a 13-year-old reportedly owes about $24,000 in child support payments to the child's mother, and she said that his financial situation is so dire he can't afford airfare and has no money to pay for a lawyer. Williams said he is currently a volunteer at an unnamed nonprofit organization and that he is now in the rebuilding stages of his life. How does one go from earning $63 million to only being worth $800,000? Just ask Kenny Anderson, he's got the recipe. And it once again involves paying hefty amounts of child support. The New York City basketball legend has had 3 divorces, 8 kids, and pays child support to 2 of his ex-wives, as the other ex-wife challenged their prenup agreement and strolled off with half of everything Anderson earned while they were together. Safe to say, she got the biggest slice of the pie. Other than giving his money to women he had children with, Kenny also gave a lot of money to his friends to help them pay their rents, as well as his mother. Anderson later admitted that he had great attorneys that advised him how to spend his money during his career, but he obviously didn't listen. Kenny's experience did teach him a lesson, but it was the one he paid for dearly. Coming from Thornwood High School, Eddie Curry checked every box as one of the most promising high school recruits. However, the guy once dubbed Baby Shaq never realized his immense potential. A series of questionable lifestyle choices led to a myriad of financial troubles. So much that the guy who earned $70 million over his 11 years in the NBA today has the net worth of only $3 million. I bet you're wondering how's that possible? Well, here's how. At some point, I kind of fell in love with helping people. I couldn't say no. I could not listen to somebody crying on the phone telling me something was wrong and just know or feel like this money could help them. So I was like, hey bro, I got you. What you need? 1500? I got you. They'd be like, 1500 would do, but if you had 3000, that'd be better. And I'm like, I got you. When you're doing that to 15 different people though, it adds up. There's just a drop in the ocean of Curry's poor off-court decisions that led him to financial problems, but it does paint the perfect picture of how Curry mismanaged his money. It seems like Eddie is your textbook example of came from nothing type of NBA player who had a hard time adjusting to the fact that he suddenly became a millionaire. I mean, the guy paid $1,000 for cable TV. He also spent $17,000 a month for renting a home while playing in New York City. The hefty center also kept a house chef for $70,000 a year. And it all adds up, and it makes sense how it all went down the drain. Eddie sure didn't know how to take care of his bread. Over his 14-year NBA career, Shawn Kemp has made around $91 million in salary and around $11 million from endorsement deals. The Supersonics fan favorite led Seattle to the NBA Finals in 1996, along with his partner in crime, Gary Payton. But it all went downhill after that. Kemp hit rock bottom after he got traded to Portland in the year of 2000, where he went from an 18-point scorer to a bench-riding role player. What was happening off the court had a lot to do with it. Shawn Kemp is a father of 7 children by 6 different women. Paying for houses, cars, and food while also paying for child support is not exactly cheap. Kemp also had a fair share of legal troubles that started while he was still in the league. By the time he got to Portland, Rain Man had struggled with cocaine and alcohol addictions. It was so bad that he had to go through rehab processes during his years with the Trailblazers. Shawn's legal troubles continued even after his career, as he was arrested multiple times for marijuana possession. While he's not entirely broke, Kemp's net worth is estimated at $5 million. His career earnings were drained by child support payments and Kemp's drug-related legal troubles. Today, Kemp works in hospitality as a part owner of Amber's Kitchen in Seattle, trying to keep on the right track. One of the greatest cautionary tales in NBA history is the story of Vin Baker. Vinny played 13 seasons in the league, was a 4-time All-Star, and a top-tier power forward in the league at the time. He was also an Olympic gold medalist in Sydney back in 2000. He doesn't own his medal anymore. Baker sold it in 2014 for $67,000, becoming the first pro US men's basketball player since NBA players started playing in the Olympics to sell his Olympic medal. But Vin didn't do it on a whim. He was forced to do it. Towards the end of his NBA career, Baker battled alcoholism, and in 2008, he had his $3 million home in Durham, Connecticut, foreclosed on failing to pay for his mortgage. Earlier that year, a restaurant Baker was also a part owner of went out of business. The series of poor investments combined with his alcohol addiction led to Baker losing nearly $100 million he'd earned during his NBA career. Today, Baker's net worth is estimated at around $500,000. But more importantly, he's getting back on track. Benny's been sober for 9 years and has found a way to get his life in order. For years, he's worked at Starbucks, and today, he's an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks, once again making a name for himself in the NBA. Most will remember Latrell Sprewell for choking his head coach PJ Carlesimo. After Sprewell was yelled at by Carlesimo, he snapped. Spree charged toward his head coach and grabbed him by the throat, dragging him until he was pulled off by teammates. 20 minutes later, Spree still couldn't keep his cool, and he once again assaulted Carlesimo. Only this time, he punched PJ in the head. The incident cost Latrell millions of dollars as the league suspended him for 68 games. Spree did get a second chance in the NBA, but once again blew it. He famously declined a 3-year, $21 million extension by the Timberwolves in 2003 by saying, "That's not enough money to feed my family." So he declined the contract and never played in the NBA again. Sprewell blew all of his money on a lavish lifestyle. An ex-girlfriend once sued him for $200 million. At one point, he owed $3 million to the state of Wisconsin in back taxes. A boat he owned was reportedly repossessed with $1.3 million worth of payments remaining and $650,000 worth of missed payments. 2 of his homes were foreclosed on. It all led to the guy having a net worth of $50,000 despite earning nearly $100 million during his NBA career. Antoine Walker is an NBA champion and a 3-time All-Star. During his prime, he was a force to be reckoned with. Walker had his best year with the Celtics during the 01 season when he averaged 23.4 points a game. Having such a resume earned Antoine $108 million, which is enough for most people to set themselves for life. So how does Walker only have a net worth of $250,000 today? As many other athlete millionaires, Walker became a victim of mismanaging his instant wealth. He'd created a costly lifestyle, spending lavishly on cars, jewelry, and homes. Same like Eddie Curry, Walker also had the curse of not being able to say no to people. He estimates he helped about 30 people move to better situations, and he didn't keep them accountable for it. According to Walker, the biggest catalyst for his financial troubles was the Great Recession. It caused the implosion of Walker Ventures, his Chicago real estate firm, as Walker ended up being forced to pay back about $20 million back to banks. Oh, and yeah, he also had sort of a gambling problem, although he keeps denying it because of the cause of his financial collapse. According to some reports, Walker had run up $882,000 in gambling debts at 3 different Las Vegas casinos. He was charged with 3 felony counts of writing bad checks and had pleaded guilty to the felony. He did not face any jail time and was put on probation as he worked towards repaying the debt. Today, Walker is working as a Fox Sports NBA analyst and is trying to teach young athletes not to follow his example. As you might have expected, Allen Iverson tops the list of NBA players who lost their massive fortunes. And let me tell you right away, no one had lost more than the answer. Over his Hall of Fame NBA career, AI earned over $200 million, $155 million from his salary, and another $50 to $60 million in endorsements. But regardless of that, this NBA icon barely avoided going completely broke. And looking at his basic monthly expenses, it's no wonder. Iverson spent $10,000 on clothes, $10,000 on restaurants, $10,000 on groceries and goods, $1,000 on dry cleaning, and $126,000 on creditors and mortgages. And that was only his costs on a monthly basis. AI prided himself on taking care of his crew. And no, it wasn't just his inner circle. Iverson took care of 50 people. He traveled with them, showering them with money and expensive cars. But it still wasn't enough for some. Iverson kept his cash in garbage bags around the house because he didn't trust banks. Allegedly, it was common for a bag or two to go missing. But AI was never bothered with it. I wonder who took it among those 50 people. At one point, he arrived back at an airport and forgotten where he had parked his car. He just ditched it and bought a new one. You get the pattern by now. AI simply didn't know how to properly manage his money. Thankfully for him though, Reebok has his back. In addition to paying $800,000 a year for life, Reebok set aside $32 million in a trust fund that Allen will not be able to access until he turns 55 in the year of 2030. This deal came to light when Allen's ex-wife filed for divorce, and as a result of the divorce, Allen will inherit half of the trust fund in 2030. Let's just hope he won't throw it down the drain again.